His multicolored coat, given to him by his father Jacob, was Joseph's prized possession. Although aside from a 2-inch whittling knife and a pomegranate, it was his only possession. Just the same, when he wore the coat, he felt as though he were literally cloaked in his father's love, and so he strutted about as proud as a peacock. It was a nauseating sight to behold, and his brothers could hardly stand it. It wasn't that they were especially jealous of their father's love for Joseph, nor were they jealous of the coat itself, because mainly they found it pretentious, pimpy, and ill-fitting. It was just that when Joseph wore it, he became unbearably vain. It got so that all Joseph talked about all day was the coat. "Do you have any idea how many colors are on this thing?" Joseph would ask to anyone who'd listen. "8?" answered the butcher in the middle of his delivery. 8? A multicolored camel-riding waistcoat might have 8. Try 47, my friend. The chestal area alone is composed of buckskin, onyx beige, imperial brown, and cocoa. Do you have any idea what a pain in the neck it is to get your hands on cocoa in the desert? Multicolored coats were all the rage when their father was a boy, and had Jacob given any of his other sons such a coat, they would have thanked him politely and then placed it in the back of their wardrobe, forgetting about it for all time. But not Joseph. He toiled, danced, whittled, and nibbled his pomegranate in his multicolored coat. It was bad enough the brothers had to look at Joseph's coat all day long, but on top of that, Joseph would not shut his mouth about the dreams he was having, dreams he would have liked his brothers to believe were prophetic. "Last night I dreamt we were all binding sheaves of corn," he told them, all faux naively as they toiled under the desert sun. "And all of your sheaves bowed down to my sheaf. What do you think that means?" His brothers ignored him. "Did I mention that my sheaf was wearing a multicolored coat?" asked Joseph. While his brothers were out working, Joseph often stayed behind with his father, who enjoyed having him dance for him. Jacob found it meditative to watch the multicolored coats swirl about. Joseph would spin until he was exhausted and out of breath. He would spin so fiercely that at a certain point, it was as though he was no longer an object in the world, but rather had become pure color. One afternoon while dancing for Jacob, Joseph stopped to tell his father about another one of his dreams that he had had the night before. In this dream, he said, the sun and the moon and 11 stars all bowed down before him. "What do you think that means?" asked Joseph. "Do you think," asked Jacob, not a little angry with his son, "that I and your mother and your 11 brothers are going to start worshiping you any time soon?" Joseph shrugged noncommittally, as though to say, "Dreams, don't they say the darndest things?" His son was beginning to give him a headache, so Jacob suggested that Joseph go out to Shechem to check on his brothers who were tending the family flocks. Because of his ostentatious coat, the brothers could see Joseph way off in the distance as he approached them from over the dunes. As they set their eyes upon him, their stomachs tightened with aggravation. "Fellas," said Joseph once he was within earshot, "on the way over here, a group of shopkeepers told me that, would that a rainbow could vomit, its vomit might look a great deal like my coat. Isn't that the sweetest thing you've ever heard? You don't think this coat makes my ass look big, do you?" Suddenly, operating like interconnected cogs in some greater machine, the brothers seamlessly and wordlessly set upon Joseph, hoisting him over their heads and stripping him of his coat. They then dumped him unceremoniously into a nearby ditch. "I wonder if he prophesied that?" asked one of the brothers. Then, without giving Joseph another thought, they all went back to their work. It wasn't until a caravan of Ishmaelites on their way to Egypt rode by and asked for directions that one of the brothers thought of Joseph. "In need of any slaves?" the brother asked them. "We have one who is a most wicked dancer, and he can delight you with tales of the most extraordinary dreams you have ever heard." The brothers were paid 20 silver coins for their sibling. The only thing left to do was to fake Joseph's death so that their father could have some closure. The brothers slaughtered a baby kid and then drenched Joseph's coat in its blood, They would tell their father that Joseph had never reached them, that they had found his blood-soaked coat on their way home, and that he had probably been murdered by a band of thieves. So thorough were the brothers in soaking the garment that when they brought it to Jacob, it was at first completely unrecognizable to him. It merely looked like a red coat. It was only when Jacob noticed the tiniest little speck of cocoa right by the neckline that he fell to his knees weeping. "I will go down to my grave," said Jacob, "and still my tears will never cease." Jacob hung the coat on the wall above the dining table so that he and his children could look upon it and be reminded of Joseph each night as they ate their dinner in silence. And for the next many years to come, without Joseph, everything in the world appeared to Jacob as though painted in shades of gray, even the desert sunset, when he bothered to notice it.